Hello and welcome to the Plant and App Low-Code Café, episode number 176. This is Wednesday, December 4th, 2024. Today we're going to be taking a look at Plant and App's new Pass Key Authentication add-on, and this is pretty exciting. Pass Key is the most up-to-date way for applications to manage authentication for end users, and this is really exciting that we have this ability to do this in Plant and App now. So that's our main topic for today, and of course we'll do the rest of our intro and take a look at some other things first before we move into that. So the Low-Code Café is presented bi-weekly on Wednesdays at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time, and we always try to give you some information about implementing things in Plant and App to help you in your work, and give you updates about the product as well. We always invite people to be guest speakers in the Low-Code Café. We really like it when we have guest speakers. So if you're interested at all, please let us know. It's always exciting to have people who use Plant and App do presentations as well. All of the webinars are recorded and are posted to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/plantandapp. And you can subscribe to the channel to get notifications about when the webinars are posted, and you can then go back and reference all the material that we record every other week in the cafe, and also weekly for our low-code campfire as well. To subscribe, you can scan this QR code, or once again, just go to youtube.com/plantandapp. Today is a pretty simple agenda. We'll take a look at a few things like hotfixes, and then we're going to move into the low coding section, which is going to demonstrate implementing the Passkey add-on in Plant and App. Please feel free to ask questions through the chat or Q&A. You can use the raise hand function, and also you can provide feedback through our feedback form as well. As I had mentioned earlier, the Low-Code Café is presented bi-weekly, and the next webinar is scheduled for December 18th. And just a housekeeping note, we won't be having a webinar on January 1st, 2025. So after the 18th, the next normally scheduled one would have been on January 1st, but we will not be having it on that day as it's a holiday. Okay, so from the trenches, we're still the active latest version right now is version 126 still. That was released on June 14th, 24, and we are continuing to publish hotfixes for it, and we'll take a look at those in just a second. And version 127 is currently targeted for going into beta at the beginning of the new year. So we hope to be doing a release of version 127 early in the first quarter of 2025. So now let me go over and take a look at the new hotfixes that we've had since the last. This is the pattern that we're following, is that we have this site right here that Dale created that we update during each Low-Code Café. So any hotfixes you see here are new since our last Low-Code Café. So for App Builder, in the Run SQL Query action that's available in automation and APIs and the workflows, in the new view, just to be very clear about that, in the workflow new interface, we have the AI assistant for creating SQL queries, and we fixed an issue where leaving feedback was not being captured, and now the feedback is being captured. So that's a fix there. In Forms, we have a couple enhancements. I'm going to take a look at this one real quick in just a second, but we've changed the formatting of the file uploads fields. This is a cosmetic change, and I'll explain that to you in just a minute, but we've always had the ability to use drag and drop in those fields, but now the UI actually gives indication to the end user that that ability is there. We've changed the way dynamic fields are hidden in the form. So previously, if a dynamic field was hidden, the values would submit anyway. But now the dynamic field container on the form now has a Boolean checkbox to indicate whether or not you want to submit hidden fields. And so that's an enhancement to the dynamic field option in forms. And then finally, in listings, there's been changes to the inline add and inline edit. Inline add now has for each for each row you add, you have an option to cancel that row before you do your save. And then for inline edit and inline add, the save button that was on each row has been removed because it actually was it saved every row, even though it looked like you were saving one single row. It saved every row. So now you just use the save button at the bottom of the form. So same functionality, just the UI is more clear. And we fixed an issue with listings automatically refreshing when a query string parameter changed. So let's take a look at that new formatting for the upload fields. So I have this page here that I brought up earlier, just to show you that now there's no functionality change here at all. This works just the same as it did before, but now you no longer, before there was just a green button that said upload. So for the end user, it looked like they had to click that button. They could drag and drop, but there wasn't an indication that they could. So now the drop zone has a dotted line around it, and you can also still click here to upload if you want, but you can also drop, and I'll just show that here real quick. So I'm going to drag a couple files over for the multiple file upload, and you can see all I had to do is just drag them into the drop zone, and they appeared there. And now I'll do a single file for the single file upload. Notice also that as I mouse over, the border around the drop zone is indicating that I'm within the drop zone. So I have a little bit of UI feedback there to tell me that I'm dropping the file within the drop zone. And drop that, and it falls into place. And then click add. Oh, got to put some information in here. Click add. And then now I have the files uploaded. So just wanted to share that change with you. So I'm going to go back to the presentation now. And we'll go. So as a reminder, we have another call that occurs on a weekly basis. That's Friday at this same time, 10 a.m. Central Time. And that's the Low-Code Campfire. And we invite everyone to come to the Low-Code Campfire to engage with other people who use PlantinApp and to get ideas and to share ideas in that group. It's a much less formal meeting than this, and everyone is able to speak at any time they want. And so links for this episode, this is our standard links. You can register in advance. Oops, maybe back up there for a second. And once again, youtube.com/PlantinApp is where you can get the webinar recordings. And you can always visit our community portal for to get help from other users of PlantinApp. And this is the link for our feedback form. Okay, so then moving into the hands-on low coding section, implementing Pass Key Authentication in PlantinApp. So I just want to demonstrate how to enable it. I'm going to do a specific flow. We'll get into that in a minute, but I think you'll see how flexible it is. You'll be able to create your whatever flow you want to. So I'm going to just give a little brief introduction to Pass Key Authentication, and then I'm going to implement it on a login page on a standard PlantinApp site. So Pass Key Authentication, most likely anybody who is here or watching this webinar later has created a passkey at some point. It's becoming the most common way to log into sites, and basically it uses device specific authentication methods to log a person into a website. So if you've ever opened an app on your phone and had to either scan your fingerprint or do or hold the phone to for facial recognition to get into the app, what you're doing right there is using passkey authentication. So when apps use the biometric authentication on a phone to log people in, that's using a passkey authentication. And passkey authentication has to be set up after a user has authenticated to the site. And then in the future, after they've authenticated to your site through your standard authentication process, they can create a passkey. And then in the future, they can use the passkey for authenticating to your site instead of using your standard authentication. I want to make that very clear. So passkey doesn't have a way to authenticate somebody at their first attempt to log into your site. And I'll explain that more in just a minute. But the benefits are great. Enhanced security for both users and applications. So this is a very secure way of logging into a site. And it's also a very simplified, I tried to highlight that and I backed up backed up quite a bit actually. It's also a very simplified way of logging into a website. So that I think is probably the best thing about passkeys is that instead of two-factor authentication, which is kind of an involved process for users, the passkeys is a very quick and easy way for someone to log into a website without having to remember passwords or go through the two-factor authentication process, getting a text message and then clicking a link and all that stuff. It's very easy for the end user. And it uses the biometric authentication on the device, fingerprint or face recognition. So yeah, why use Planted Passkey authentication in Planted app? Keeping your site up to date, and our new add-in fully supports it. So installing Passkey, so one thing I want to note is that the Passkey add-on is going to be an additional purchase add-on in Plantain app, just to make that very clear. It's not something that's included automatically, but I think that the advantages of it make it well worth it. So I want to navigate, I'm going to go to the site I have set up now, and no, I forgot one detail here. When I was looking at the hotfixes earlier is that I'm going to refresh the page. One thing we always do live in the webinar to make sure it's ready for next time is we install all the hotfixes on this site. So I'm going to just go ahead and do that, and we'll let that happen in the background. Okay, so here we are on my fresh site. And I just wanted to show that I'm on the updates page in configuration in Plantain app. And you can see here that I have the Passkey add-on already installed on the site. So in order to do the things that I'm talking about today, you do need to have this Passkey add-on added. And just be very clear, you need to be updated on your hotfixes. You need to have and actually I might need to, let's see how far behind I am here. I might need to do some additional updates here. I wasn't planning on that, but maybe I missed something here. And actually the site's fallen asleep too, so I need to let that refresh. Go back to hotfixes. Okay, yes, I'm going to need to run this this update here. So I'm going to just go ahead and do that. Let's reload this one more time. Thought I had my site completely up to date here, but and I'm glad I checked that because it's a good example. You'll need to have the Passkey add-on added, but you also need to be up to date with your hotfixes too, because there are changes in App Builder and Forms that are required for the Passkey add-on to work correctly. So just a note there that in order for it all to work, you want to be completely up to date with your hotfixes. And I'll let that update here. So meanwhile, I'm going to duplicate this page, and I'm going to so what I'm going to be doing today is basically taking when Plantain app installs, we have a login page, at least on our self-reg sites that we have. We have a login page that's created automatically. And I'm going to take that login page and I'm going to put the flow of adding Pass Key Authentication into the login page. And that's going to include actually the prompting of the user to create a passkey. I apologize for a delay here. I will, oh, here we go. Okay. So I'm going to navigate to the PAA login page, and I'm going to put that into edit mode. Let's check our hotfixes here. No hotfixes available, so that's great. And now we have forms up to date. So that's the most important thing I have there. Okay, so here I am on the login page. Now, the first thing I'm going to do on the login page is I'm going to add a separate form. What I'm going to do probably could be integrated into the login form, but instead of making, I'm going to make a few changes, but instead of making a lot of changes to the login form, I'm actually just going to add a new login form. So I'm going to, I mean, a new form to the login page that'll manage creating the passkey. So I'm going to go into the manage form and open that in another tab and start with a blank form. And the first thing I'm going to do is add a static text field. And the name of the static text field does not really matter a whole lot, but I'm going to go ahead and call it passkey text. And I just have some text here that I'm going to go ahead and copy into here. So basically, we're just saying that this is going to prompt people after they've logged in, and if they don't have it's going to check to see if their device supports passkeys, and if they do not currently have a passkey, that's where I'm headed. Then it's going to say our site supports passkeys, and your device also supports passkeys. Do you want to create one? So that's the message we're going to give to them. And then I'm going to clone this field. And now we're going to have one that says, I'm going to call this passkey success text. And this will be shown to them after they successfully created their passkey. So they'll get a message saying you've successfully created passkey. Now you may log into our site with passkey. And once again, this is all something that you can make work for your implementation. But just want to show you what I'm going to do here. Okay, so now I'm going to add a button. We're going to call that create passkey. And we will go ahead and let it be. I'm going to center it because all the other buttons on the login page are centered. That's the main reason I'm doing that. And I'm going to add one action. And that'll be the create passkey action. Now, the details that are here are extensive, and I'm not going to talk about them a lot, but I am going to going to touch on them just a little bit. So there's a lot of things to set here. One is this right here. This accepts tokens. It's not a crucial thing really, but it gives a way to just identify the passkeys. The passkeys will be saved in a database table, and this gives an easy way to identify them. I'm identifying them just by the user ID. You could use username also. User identifier is really not necessary. It'll default to the currently logged in user, and that is almost always going to be exactly what you want. So I'm going to leave that blank. The attestation preference. Basically, this is defining what kind of information you want to save about the device that is the device authenticator that's creating the passkey. So none is the most privacy preserving option, which means that no information about the device authenticator will be saved. And this is most often what you're going to want. If you getting more information, which involves the direct and enterprise options, would be more likely the scenario would be you're in a corporate environment where the devices are being issued by the company, and they want to collect information about the devices that are have the authenticators being created because they're being issued by the company. But most often, this is the none option is going to be what you're going to want, and that's what I'm going to select here is none. Okay, so the authenticator attachment. This is talking about what kind of authenticator you're allowing. Platform specific means that you want the passkey to be saved by platform. So on a specific device, on an iPhone, on an Android, on a Windows computer, that's where you want that passkey to be saved and where you want it to be used. Cross-platform means that you are willing for the passkey to be saved in a cross-platform format. A cross-platform format can be something like a password vault, like 1Password or LastPass or something like that. Any sort of or an external device like a USB device that can move from machine to machine. If you're willing to do that, you can say that you have a preference for cross-platform. But I also want to note that these are preferences, so it doesn't always mean that just because you choose platform that it's always going to just be platform. So in this case, I'm going to go ahead and choose platform. Okay, so then resident key is defining if the passkey's saved on the system on the something I forgot to talk about earlier that I just want to mention here because I think it's important is that passkeys involve a private token that is stored on the device where the passkey is being used, and a public token that is stored on the server of the site that you're creating the passkey for. And so there has to be agreement between the private token and the public token, and the relying party, which is the server that's where you're logging into, can decide that they want to have a discoverable credential on the device itself, and that means that the user will be able to choose the credential that they're going to use when they log in. And hopefully, I'll be able to illustrate this later. But for our purposes here, I'm going to say that the resident key is preferred. So I'm not going to say it's required, but it's preferred that a user be able to select their credential they're going to use when they from their device. And then for user verification, this is determining whether or not we are going to ask the device to use its authentication method to confirm that the person logging in is actually that person. So in other words, I'm going to choose, let's look at my sample here to see what I did. Yeah, I'm going to choose preferred here. And that means that I'm looking for I'm preferring that the device use its authentication. So that means when I use this passkey, I want the device to actually use its facial recognition or its fingerprint scanning. That or in Windows Hello, the PIN that you put in for Windows Hello. I'm asking the device to confirm that with the when the passkey is used, so that I know that it's actually that person who is using the passkey. And so I'm going to indicate a preferred option here. You can also say that it's required. Okay, and then make sure we don't have any questions yet. Doesn't look like, okay. And so then I'm going to define some on success and on error actions here. It's important to note here with the actions that the full list of actions is here, but not all of them can actually be used in this scenario. We're looking for actions here that are final actions that have that end a complete stack. And that's because when we use Passkey, we're actually it's actually calling an API, and in a way, the Passkey action itself is a final action. It's calling an API, and the context of the form is lost after it passes over to the device to create the passkey. But we can run some limited actions because there is an API called back to the server, and we can hook off that and then run some actions. But we can't create a lot of front end interactivity with on here because it's just not going to work because we actually are losing the form context when we run this action. So what I'm going to add here is a stop execution action. So I'm going to actually do a initialize form and stop execution. And this is going to reinitialize the form that we're on right now. So that is this form here. I haven't named it yet. I'm going to go ahead and do that now before I forget, because I'd like to have forms named correctly. There we go. So when I save, that will update and it's identified by ID, so that won't change anything, but I just want to make sure that when I come back in here next time, it says passkey. Okay, and then I am going to pass a couple parameters, and I'll explain these more as we get and move along here. The value of that is going to be success. And then if there's a return URL, so on when somebody logs in, sometimes they might have logged in from a site from a page that passed them to the login page, and then that they have a return URL parameter in the URL, and I want to keep on passing that along in this process. So I'm going to just pass along the return URL and get it from the current return URL parameter in the URL. Okay, and then I'm going to define some on-error actions. So if the passkey creation is not successful, the first thing I'm going to do is log an event. And I'm going to call that an admin alert. And we're going to record the user ID. And now, on-error actions, in a standard throughout Plant and App, when you have an on-error stack, you have access to these tokens here: exception, exception type, and exception message. You don't necessarily need to record all of them, or you can do something else if you want. But I'm going to actually record all of them. And actually, I'm just going to copy that whole thing there and just grab all these. Oops. There we go. And then I also want to display an error message to the user. And in the display error message, I'm simply going to use the exception message token. So I'm going to put in the text passkey was not created, and then give them the message that was returned as the exception message as to why it wasn't created. So that way they have some feedback that the passkey was not actually created. So just going to go back up and take a quick look here to make sure I've accomplished what I wanted to here. Okay, yep, looks like we're good. Real quick, I just wanted to point out that in the initialize form and stop execution, I passed along a query string parameter called passkey create. I'm going to use that now. So I just want to show you how I'm going to use that. But real quick, I'm going to scroll to the top and just save what I've done so far, and then I'll make a few more edits. And once again, feel free to jump in with any questions that you might have at any point. I have some colleagues on the call here that will either answer by replying to the chat or bring the questions to my attention. Okay, so then on the passkey text, I want to add a condition. I'm going to show conditionally, and the condition is going to be that the token passkey create does not equal success. So when they first load this form, this is the message they're going to see. And then on the passkey success text, I'm going to do the exact opposite. So once they actually have successfully created a passkey, then we're going to show them the success text. I also need to make sure that the value of this is being loaded into the form. So I'm going to do two things there. I'm going to go to the pre-init of the form and add a token, a contextual token. So we'll choose the create update tokens action, and I'm going to create that token in context, passkey create, and we're going to get that value from the query string. So get passkey create. So, and then I'm going to go ahead and just put in an equals here, just to say that if you don't see the value, it's a blank value. Not totally necessary, but just trying to be very concise about what's happening. And that's the only thing I want to do on the pre-init. And then finally, in settings, and then we'll get to our first test, I promise. In settings, I want to add a show form condition. So I'm going to go here and paste in the show form condition here. So I'm going to show this form under two conditions. User ID has to be greater than 0. So that means the user's logged in. We're only going to see this form if the user's logged in. And we are only going to show this form if the device supports passkeys. So the new action form, the latest versions, this is one of the reasons why I mentioned earlier that you have to make sure you're up to date on your hotfixes, has a built-in token that's available. It's called R passkey supported. It's available by the by query string. You won't see it in your URL, but it is available by in action form by using a get token. And it's simply a Boolean. And what this token does is check to see if the device that we're currently on will support passkeys, and it will return true if that is the case. And I just want to say, it's important to do this check, but at the point we are now, most devices are going to support passkeys. So most likely this will return true, but it's you certainly want to check it to make absolutely certain. Okay, so I've done all the changes I want to make right now. I'm going to click save again. And I'm going to go back to the login page. And actually, I think I'll switch to a different profile. Go here and let's get my URL. I'll do it without the login. Okay, and so I'm going to put in my credentials. So this is the same credentials I'm logged in with under the other profile, and I got logged in already. I guess that's because let me log back out and make sure that because that's because of a setting that I have there. Okay, that's not really what I wanted. So let me just real quick change this setting. That's interesting. Hope this it doesn't take me too long to figure this out. Yeah, that one right there. Okay. Go back over here, reload this, and then hopefully click login. Okay. So I did not get prompted. Oh, because I have, I shouldn't though. Okay, let me check back because I didn't get prompted to create the passkey. So I just need to make sure that I have everything the way I wanted to. Oh, yes, I did forget a step though. Okay, excellent. That's why we do a lot of testing. Okay, so then I need to make a couple changes to my login form as well. And I didn't get to those. Let me reload this so we can see what I have here right now. And actually, I can go ahead and test the create passkey here, and so we can see that in action. And then I'll make my changes to the login form. So if I click create passkey, in this particular browser, and I'm going to demo one that's not like this, but in this browser, I have a password vault enabled. And so it's automatically going to the password vault for me to save my passkey. And so I'm going to save it under a new item. And I'll just go ahead and it's putting my login name there, and I'll click save. And it says passkey was saved. And then here you can see that the form did refresh. You have successfully created a passkey. You may now log into our site by clicking the login with passkey button. I did not put my my conditions on my buttons. Let's fix that first before we fix anything else. Yep, let's go ahead and reload this. And I'm going to go to my create passkey button. And I want the condition is going to be looking at that same token that I mentioned earlier. We're going to only show the create passkey button when passkey create does not equal success. So that's when we're going to show that. And then while I'm here, I'll go ahead and create a couple other buttons that are going to add some functionality here. So add a button, and this is going to be continue. And the logic for continue is going to be that it'll show when passkey equals success. So after I created a passkey successfully, then we'll show the continue button. And that action is going to be a redirect to URL. So add redirect to URL. And that URL will be, the condition here will be query string does not equals empty. So if the query string is empty, query string return URL, if the return URL option is empty, we're going to just put a / in here to take it to home. And then I'm going to clone that action. And then we actually don't need a condition here, because if this one runs, this one won't run. And so if this one doesn't run, then we want this one to run, which is going to take them to the URL that's in their query string, return URL. So that covers that. And then I want to come here, and I'm going to clone this continue button. And we're going to call this one continue without creating a passkey. And I'm going to give it a shorter label. No passkey. And we'll turn off the causes validation and default button options here. And because I want to kind of, this is the approach I'm taking, you can take any approach you want, but because I kind of want to guide people towards using passkeys, I really want them to do that. I'm going to choose make the continue without creating a passkey just a link, so that's it's a little bit de-emphasized. And put that into center. And then we have the same two actions. I don't think I need to change anything here. If the query string is not present, we return them to home, and if it is present, we're going to return them to the return URL that they have. And just make sure that in the continue button, let's see, this is, yes. So here I'm going to make this button appear when passkey create does not equal success. So they haven't created one yet, and it'll give them that option to continue without creating a passkey. And then just one final thing, put this in center because all my other buttons are centered. And go to the layout, and I'm actually going to make these full width so that the centering works correctly. Okay, and then I'm going to save all those changes. And then put this page back in edit, and then I'll make the changes to my login form that I want to do. So I'm going to put the login form. Actually, I wanted that to be in a tab. Let's put it right there. And on the login form, I'm going to make just a few changes. On the login button, actually on events first, I want to make sure I don't forget that part. So on events, I want to change the two of the redirects. So I'm going to add to the condition on my redirect. So here I'm going to add. So this redirect here is basically doing a check to see that if the user is already logged in and they don't have an administrator role, then we're going to leave them on the page. This allows administrators the ability to edit the login page, as you've seen that I'm doing. Otherwise, regular users get redirected from the login page because they don't need to be there if they're already logged in. But I'm adding a parameter here that says that that they're only getting that they also need to be redirected if passkeys are not supported. So just adding that in, and I'm going to add it here too. And then on the settings tab, the other check I'm going to make here, I'm going to add a show form condition here as well. And this is saying that that we're going to show the login form only if user ID is empty. So when they get redirected to see the create passkey form, I don't want them to see the login form anymore. So that's what I'm doing here. However, if if you have an administrator role, you can see it. So that's what this condition is doing. And then back on fields on the login button, I'm going to add an action to refresh this page, basically, is what I'm doing. So I'm going to add a redirect to portal page action, and we're going to choose this page, the PAA login page. And I'm going to pass along the return URL. And I'm going to say that passkeys supported is true. So I did that check in the initialization. Okay, so I think I have everything I want there. Click save. And now I'll go back to here. I'm going to sign out, and I'll put in once again my credentials here and click login. Okay, still did not get the form. I'm going to try as a regular user. Maybe there's something so I'm going to switch to actually, yeah, I need to go ahead and go to configuration. I'm going to go to users and add a user. All right. And I will specify, and we'll go ahead and just use my password generator here. Let's edit this, make sure everything's correct, and save it. And I'll leave it as the user's role. And I'm going to copy this email address here. I can use it in a minute. Add user. Okay, and then I'm going to copy the password that I saved also. Go back over to my other browser and sign out. Log in. I'm still not getting the passkey. Okay, so I didn't do something right. Let's see what I forgot here. Go back to the login form. Let's see what I forgot. It's always nice in a live webinar when you get put on the spot like this. So login form fields, and I want to go to the, oh, did I not save the form? No, that's the passkey form, right? Okay. This saved, login. Aha. That's one of those things that happens. So I didn't put the redirect to portal page action in the correct place. That's what happened there. So and also I missed another important detail here on this, on the redirect to portal page action. I need to check to see if passkeys are supported. So if passkeys are not supported, they'll get pushed onto the other redirect actions that were happening to me just a minute ago. So let's save that like that, and then switch back over to, and I'm going to sign out here, and then sign back in. Log in. Okay. Let's see. Still didn't get something right here. Fields, passkey create does not equal success. That should be working just fine. Let me look at the show form condition to make sure I got that right. Our passkey supported. I didn't have to do this, but I'm just going to put this in here now because somehow the form is not displaying and I'm not sure why. And let me just go ahead and save it. Let me log out here again. Yep, definitely not getting that form. Okay, well, since we're getting near the hour, I think I'm going to do the demo from my and I know that Dale's done this in the past too. I'm going to do the demo from the site that I know is working, and I'll troubleshoot this later. So I'm going to go to my site that I'm using for my demonstration setup here. And I'm going to log in with okay, so this and hopefully I didn't get to this part, but there's also a manage keys option here. This user already has one, so I'm going to actually delete it. Say yes, I want to delete that. And then we're going to sign out and log back in with that user. Log in. And so now I'm getting the message that says our site supports passkeys. We've detected that your device also supports passkeys, and I encourage them to create one. So I'll go ahead and click on the create passkey option here. It's prompting me from my password manager. I'm going to say I'm going to create a new one, and we'll save that. And now I get the message that you've successfully created a passkey, and I'll click on continue. So now if I go to manage passkeys, you can see that that's there again. I'm going to show you what happens if I don't have one, and I'm going to go ahead and delete that again, say yes, and log out. And this is to demonstrate the error message. So now if I click log in with passkey, and I choose the passkey for that user where I just deleted it, I'm getting this message saying we're not able to use the passkey you provided. So my device has the passkey, but I deleted the passkey from the server. So because we don't have the passkey in both places, it can't be used. So now I'm getting the error message. If you recall correctly, I set the error message to say we are not able to use the passkey you provide. Oh no, I set to show the exception message. That's what I did. I set it to show the exception message, and it is. So then I can now continue to log in with my regular credentials if I want to. Choose them, log in, and now I'm getting prompted again to create a passkey because I don't have one on the site. So create passkey, and I'm not going to though yet because what I want to do now is to continue the demonstration, I'm going to switch to a profile where I do not have the password manager in place. And go ahead and put in my URL. And here I'm going to go back and get my username and password for this user. This one here, I'm going to copy that and copy that. Switch back over here and put in there, and go ahead and log in. And now I'm being prompted to create a passkey, and I'll click create passkey. And now I'm getting the Windows prompt. So because I don't have a password manager installed here, I'm being prompted by my Windows security. And I have a fingerprint reader on my system, so I'm going to scan my fingerprint. And now I'm getting the Windows message that the passkey has been saved, and I'll say okay. And it tells me I've successfully created the passkey. So I'll click on continue, and I'm logged in. And now if I log out, sign out, and then click login with Passkey. I'm getting the Windows prompt, and it's showing me the options I have. So I'm going to choose this one here. Yep, and click on next. And now I have to scan my fingerprint because remember I chose that preferred option for using the device's authentication method, and so that's why I'm being prompted to scan my fingerprint, and I get logged in. There's one more thing I want to show you. I'm going to go back in here and delete the passkey that I created. Actually, I'll leave it there for now. I think this will work without that. So I'm going to click sign out and click login with Passkey. And see this option here that says use another device. I'm going to click that. And I'm going to choose the iPhone, iPad, or Android device and click next. And there's a QR code there. And if you look at the camera, you can see that I'm scanning it. And it's not, I'm putting in it scanned my face. And now I'm going to choose an available passkey that I already have. And I'll choose the, I don't have a good one here, so let's see what this does. Okay, so I didn't have a passkey on my device available for this site, so it's telling me that it's not working there. So I'm going to now go back and sign in again. We'll actually use the passkey that says available here. Next, scan my fingerprint. And I'm going to go to manage passkeys and delete this one. Yes, and then sign out. And then I'm going to do my regular login. And log in, I get prompted for a passkey again. I'm going to click create passkey, click on more choices, and actually, yep. Well, I'm not getting the actual configuration I wanted here, so that's okay. But if you have the passkey, it's probably because of my preferences. If I changed my preferences on the passkey to allow the cross-platform options, then it probably would work better. But basically, if you configure this in a way that allows people to do it, you can they can sign in on any device with their phone, and I think it has to do with my settings. As is often the case, I didn't quite get through everything I wanted to, but I was able to at least demo most of the options for you. So if I go back to my main thing here, I showed you that the managed passkeys. Let's go back to the presentation. Showed you how to enable the passkey authentication on a login page. We added a form for creating a passkey, and we modified the login form. I didn't get to create a token, so I have the other option I was going to do. A thing I was going to do was create a token to check if a passkey exists. So if a user has a passkey already, they don't get put to the passkey form. They bypass it if there's a passkey already existing. That's just a really simple token, and then you put it into the logic. And then configuring the login to bypass based on the condition that uses the token you created. So those are two things I didn't get to do. And then you saw the page I was where I was managing passkeys. Something I did there was I also added a button there where they can create an additional passkey if they want to. And that's this option here. So not seeing any further questions, I will go ahead and move along. Unless anybody has any, please jump in if you do have questions. Awesome. Well, we're right on the hour, so I thank all of you for joining us on this episode of the Low-Code Café, highlighting our Pass Key Authentication add-on in Plantain app. And we'll see you again on December 18th. Bye, everyone.